Yo, what up, y'all? This is the Grind2Hard podcast. Thanks for tuning in. This is season 3. In case you didn't know, I'm the host, Chef Clay. Catch me doing my thing on IG at keepingitp.c. My job here in El Paso, Texas is personal chef work. I go inside people's homes and cook for families and individuals. I'm blessed to do this. So my passion is food and serving amazing plates. The Grind2Hard podcast aims to help you find your passion in life and ultimately add a little more happiness to your journey. Our focus on this platform is entrepreneurship and motivation. I believe we are all climbing that mountain of success or looking for our own personal greatness. We are with you here 100% here at the Grind2Hard podcast. This is episode 66. I want to shout out the amazing studio here, Nevermore Records. Mr. Paul Ward takes his time to do the most highest quality podcast here with his cameras and his audio and the attention to detail. So I want to say thank you and shout out Nevermore Records. If you'd like to start your own podcast, there's a number at the beginning of the podcast. You can give them a call and just inquire within. This is episode number 66, and this is A-Town Talks. That's going to be the guest. I'd like to thank Mr. Jonathan Lozano and Sal Escandon for coming on the show. Thank you guys for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So these guys are a host and producer of the #1 podcast in Anthony, Texas. Basically, they specialize in like photography and videography. Came together and started this A-Town Talks, and I've seen them talk to many people in town, but also like collaborating with podcasts. So that's what they're doing here, and I really appreciate you guys coming on the podcast to kind of talk and see what's going on here. And
Thank you.
Absolutely. So first of all, like you guys come together as Marlark Productions, right?
Yeah. So
Marlark Productions.
Marlark.
Yeah.
All right. And where did that start? How did that start?
So, well, the name is a stupid nickname that we kind of came up with each other. Mm-hmm. We used to play video games all the time. Okay. There was this guy that we would play with, and his name was Marlack, and every time he joined the lobby, he would be like, "Yo, it's Marlack." So that kind of just became a joke with us. So every time I call him or he call me, he'd be like, "Yo, Marlack."
So you guys come together. You did the podcast first, or you started the production company first?
Podcast started first.
Yeah.
So he kind of got things rolling with his friend from high school, and as they got through their episodes, it kind of became a lot of work, setting up lights, getting everything ready. And one day he just was calling me, just kind of frustrated, and I was like, "Hey man, if you need some help, just let me know." Mm-hmm. And so that's how we got started in our partnership in getting me into the podcast. And so
what did you have going at that time? You had basically like mics, and you guys would talk on the mic and start. You had your own name and stuff like that. And
yeah, so I like you said, I started the podcast with a friend from high school, and we started shooting at my house. Mm-hmm. And at first it was just me and him. As it grew, the community grew. We started doing more like events and reaching out to different people. And that's when it started getting a little hectic, and he came on board. But I've known Sal for like 12, 13 years now. We've worked together for a very long time, and he was actually my boss in my first retail job after high school. So that's how I met him. Yeah.
Oh, okay, but you stay. I mean, sometimes when it's your boss, though, you grow bitter or have animosities, but you never grew any of that. Quiet on the set. What the heck? No, that's cool though. But either way, in business, you still came together. You know what I mean? Throughout, like you have a certain respect for each other in different ways. You know what I mean?
In some way, I think our minds are kind of at that same maturity level.
Sure. Okay.
And so
and understand what it takes to make it. Right.
We relate to a lot of stuff, and I think that's really where our bond kind of grew. Mm-hmm. And so being able to have a conversation that you can't have with everybody, like I can have with him, like that's where I think we're connected, and I think that kind of brought us together for maybe at the beginning as a boss and leader relationship, but then eventually just kind of like a friendship and us being able to work on things together. And
that's actually a big thing, because for instance, I've been a chef for about 20 plus years, and I started a food truck in 2012, and me and another chef were like, yeah, let's do it. And we were two egos bouncing around in that food truck, for 10 plus hours a day, you know what I mean? So you got to really have the right partner with the right, vision in mind, you know what I mean? The guys got to be on the same page and things like that. So that's big when you're starting a business. If you're going to partner up with somebody, like you really got to be on the same page, even if you have personal animosities or things like that. Maybe you have the same business vision, and one can do a certain aspect better, and then you collaborate to actually make the business work. You know what I mean? Like, it takes a lot. It takes a lot. And so A-Town Talks, as it started, what were you having fun doing? Like, what made you start A-Town?
Heartbreak.
Oh, really? Hey, trust me, heartbreak is what started me as a personal chef. Trust me, I understand.
It was a lot of things. I joke around about the heartbreak thing, but it was just kind of a lot of things that built up.
It was the rocket fuel that got you.
Yeah, and it was just a lot of life-changing moments. My mom had passed the year before, and then at that point, I went through the breakup, and I was just like, I need to do something with my life that feels meaningful, or just something for myself, really.
And at that point, like, what made you go up rather than go down? Because I know I've been there, and like you're just like easy just to fall, man. Like, go drink, go party, go chill with the wrong people. Like, what made you more motivated in that moment to go do a podcast?
I've never thought about that, dude. But I think it's just my mentality. I've never been the type to just roll over and give up. I kind of.
You felt it though. I'm sure you were low at that point, right?
Yeah, I think for me, it's just like I needed to find a way out of that situation, and the way my mind works is like I just start thinking of solutions for things, and the podcast was something that was there, and then I started looking into it, and I was like, this kind of doesn't seem too hard. I think I can do it, and it was really hard at first, but once you get the ball rolling, it gets easier.
What was hard, the production or actually like getting on camera?
No, I think being on camera is I'm naturally like I'm fine with that.
You were saying that, right? He's a charismatic kind of guy.
Yeah, I have no issue with that. The production side of it, I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know anything about how to work a camera. I didn't own any equipment.
Right. Okay.
So I started, using my credit cards. Bought some equipment.
Started investing,
started YouTube University, learned how to edit, how everything works, and little by little we've been building on it.
Nice. So it seems like once you had the idea, like you had a vision, like, so you were like, was it podcasting or was it like more production video, or was it like podcasting? I want to start my own podcast.
I think honestly, I don't think I had like a set vision. I think I just had an idea of what I wanted to do.
And what was that?
And just do the podcast, right? And then the vision started growing.
Okay.
And once I started, I think once we started having guests and I started talking to entrepreneurs, and I'm sure you've seen this, like you get inspired by people.
Sure. Oh yeah, 1000%. Yeah. They say things that you don't even know, like you know what I mean, like, and inspires you to kind of move in a different way. Yeah. Absolutely, definitely.
And just kind of hearing their stories, a lot of the time it resonated. Like I resonated with what they were going through, and it made me think like, well, maybe I can do something more than just a podcast. And that's when the idea of the production company kind of got into my head. And again, I don't know anything about.
Yeah. So is that when you reached out to Sal?
Kind of. I had mentioned it to him.
I got a phone call. Yeah. I think it was just, that thought in his head. And he's like,
but it was like expansion of what his thought was initially, right?
Yeah. Like, he had already started the podcast, and he's like, Sal, you know what? Next year we're going to do this. And I was like, oh shit.
Did you take him for serious at that time?
I did.
You did?
Like,
nice.
Just his tone.
You could hear it in his voice or something,
but I think also because of the fact, like he's already taken those big steps in the podcast. And that,
so you had to take him for
that
real.
kind of built the confidence,
Sure.
and like, oh shit, he can make this happen. And I think from seeing that and also kind of dabbling it in myself, like I thought, that's awesome stuff that I want to be involved in. So
as an outside entity, because I mean you're friends and you've probably seen him grow, behind the scenes, but like what was like some metrics that you took into account, like to actually partner up and say, okay, let's do that? Like, was it the views, or was it like just his charisma in general, or was it like his work ethic? No,
I think just kind of being a part of the growth and seeing
nice.
like where they started. I mean, you guys should have seen it was in his room, the first episode. With
right, he's got to start somewhere.
Something like this, but I mean, cameras. A lot closer, just confined.
If somebody walked in, they would have thought we were doing something else.
So yeah, like jumping in and seeing that, and then just seeing how passionate he was about that. I think that's something that, I've been in retail for a long time, and I've gotten special training and stuff from the companies that I work with, and I think it always boils down to when you're looking for talent, you can't train somebody to be passionate. And you could see that when he got involved with this project and what he's been doing.
Right.
And I think that that's really what kind of grabbed me. And I was like, shit, like, yeah, we can definitely make this work.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's good. And it's your friend, like a friend too, like an acquaintance, somebody you know, not just a random business partner that you meet and kind of have to collaborate with. That's another level too, man. That's great, man. That's great. So you guys are pretty confident in the future. You have any vision for what Marlark is going to do?
Yeah, we're getting out there. We're kind of collaborating with a lot of different talent, especially, in El Paso. Everybody's willing to work with us, and that's great. So being able to partner with some of the people that have more experience and just kind of learning from that,
right?
Those are things that we're doing right now. But eventually, we want to continue to grow the Marlac side of the business and kind of influence the pod as well.
Right.
The pod has taken some different steps this year as well with that. We were talking about
collaborations and stuff like that,
working on more of
like a documentary style.
So not just the sit down podcast style, but
no, we mix it up.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. I and that's what I like too, because this is my platform. I just sit down and I invite guests, but you guys are like in the lab, like thinking of different segments and things like that. That's great, man. That's great.
And that's why it's great having Sal around, because and I was talking about this in another episode, that I have like these crazy ideas and he helps me make those ideas come to life. Right?
Nice.
That's like his role. He's like my producer.
That's part of the partnership. Yeah, absolutely. Because like sometimes when you have an idea, you're half confident with it. Like, is it real? And then he hears it and it's like, fuck yeah, that's real. What do you mean? Let's go with that. Let's try it. You know what I mean? And that's all you need sometimes, just that little spark, to push you and stuff like that. So I love the A-Town Talks. I apologize, I haven't seen a full episode, but I was dabbling into each one, and because what got me into first knowing about A-Town Talks was I'm really good friend. I'm not really good. I've been a guest on Broman Rowe show.
Yeah.
So those guys, Ray and everybody, they're really cool people, and I talk to them all the time, and I see what they're doing. They're always in the scene. They're passionate about what they're doing. Yeah. So then I saw you guys collaborate, and I'm like, damn, these guys are #1 podcast in Anthony. Let me see what's going on over there. You know what I mean? Like
the only one. That's
the only. It's the #1 podcast in Anthony. The A-Town Talks. But that's good, man. That's what I'm saying. So I saw you. That's how the blip came, and then I'm trying to watch your episodes. It's more organic, where you're having guests and you're just talking. I would say bullshitting, but there's content. You guys are actually talking about what goes on in daily lives in your city versus our city, and you even have some podcasts where you came into El Paso and you start, took a picture of that spaghetti bowl. Whose vision was that? It's like just
that was his. That's his drone work right there. Yeah,
that was fucking cool, man. Because like it's just where the angle was, you could see all the cars going, and like you knew that was El Paso spaghetti bowl. You know what I mean? Right there. So.
Yeah. So that's part of. As actually one of our up and coming episodes. It might be out by the time this one comes out. I don't know timing wise, but we got to sit down with Gus from Old Sheepdog Brewery, and
shout out Gus, man. He's a real cool guy, man. I've met him before too.
Dope guy.
He's into collaborations too. He's a real cool guy.
And even that, we were talking about the organic way that came about. Me and my other co-host Raleigh, we walked in to the brewery one day just to have a beer. We started talking to him. He had a really cool story, and I asked him like, hey, would you want to be on a podcast? He's like, sure. And sure thing. Next week we were there filming all kinds of stuff, and yeah, that's been really cool.
I think it's eye-opening too when you're like, maybe not just a podcaster, but when you have a vision, like, hey man, like it'd be cool, like you see it, like you're like, hey, would you like to do this? And they return the volley real quick, like, yeah, I'd like to do that. You're like, fuck man, okay, cool. It sparks you to do it more and collaborate more, stay humble and stuff like that. So one of the episodes I liked, you guys went to NYC. You have an NYC vlog.
Yeah, that was something I did with one of my other co-host. I have several co-hosts.
Vlogs work, man. I was interested in that. That was somehow like NYC. You're from Anthony, NYC, and then vlog. Those three things got me hooked on. I probably watched like the whole thing. Just watch what you guys were up to, man. That was pretty cool.
And that was something that I recorded when we went, and I kind of sat on that footage for months.
Did you?
I didn't release that until months after.
Did you get good views out of that?
Yeah, it went pretty good, and it was one of those things where we hadn't done a vlog, and I didn't know how it would work and if people would actually watch or anything.
Yeah.
But one week we didn't have any episodes lined up in the schedule, so I thought I have all this footage of the vlog. I'm gonna put it together, see what comes out of it, and it was pretty nice. So I think that's something that we might kind of do a bit more.
Yeah, I think what interests me personally is that, like, number one, you're from Anthony, right? And I was like, well, why isn't he in NYC? And then, all right, let me see what's going on. Then you watch it and you kind of like fall into it because you're doing things that are interesting and you get to see things that are interesting. You know what I mean? And it's like relatable because it's like your home. It's like somebody from home going over there. That's the relatable part of it. I liked it. So another episode, I'll preface a little bit because being a personal chef, I go to people's homes and I cook for them.
Yeah.
When I first started, I was at Costco. I actually worked at Costco for 11 years, and I was saving money trying to build a business. I finally got out there and I was doing it, and I would go to people at work and I would say, hey, I'm gonna come to your house and I cook for you 4-course menu. Like I'm a chef, and they're like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, get back to work, dog. I was like, fuck. So eventually people like saw what I had, my vision, and one person that really saw my vision was Sandra Gomez, and she's a wife of Jacob, and his brother is Ricky Perez.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Ricky Perez is fighting, battling right now. He needs medical help right now, and then he's doing a little battle, so we're helping him out, you know what I mean? And you guys did like big time help with him. You guys give him a donation, or what was it called?
Yeah, so there was an event that happens every year. It's called the West Valley Angel Fund.
Oh, okay. Angel Fund, right?
Yeah, the fire department from the Canutillo or West Valley area, they do this event for somebody that's in need of medical treatment.
Right.
Last year the recipient was Ricky Perez. And we just wanted, he's one of our homeboys. Like I've known Ricky. We went to school together and stuff.
Yeah, really cool guy, man.
And we're like, well, how can we use our platform to raise awareness to this event? And we did that. We did an episode, a sit down with Jacob and
that was
Martin
cool
Lerma, Captain Martin. Or is it Chief? I don't remember if it's Captain or Chief. Anyways, and we sat down at the fire station talking about the event, and and then during the event, we set up a booth and we sold our merchandise, and all of the proceeds went towards them. We were able to raise about $800, just our booth. Wow. The event itself raises way more than that, but it's a cool thing because the whole community comes in together, and they all do their part to help a member of the area. So that was really cool. And I love
definitely, because first of all, I've cooked for Jacob probably like 3 or 4 times, and then Ricky I've cooked for him and his lady like twice. But once I heard it, first thing I thought I was like, what can I do to help? I cooked them dinner and tried to like figure out what I could do, and I'm like in the midst of it, like you guys did that show, and he got an Angel Fund, and I'm like, wow, there's so many things going on that help out El Paso, and then people in Anthony that care and stuff like that. So I wish I could be part of that. I was wondering like how you got in contact with the Angel Fund, were able to do a show like that and promote something like that.
I don't remember how we came into contact. I mean, Martin Lerma, he's part of the Anthony community. He's former mayor there, and I think I just reached out to Jacob, and I asked Jacob, like, what can we do? Like, how can we help? And then the idea of the podcast, I'm like, well, maybe we can just raise awareness. The best thing to do is just raise awareness and use our platform. So we did that. And
that's cool, man. That's a great idea. I mean, that's a great idea, because if I could do anything, if Jacob, you want me to do a podcast, or we could do anything, man, I'll do anything. Yeah, to help out Ricky. He's a good guy, man. Shout out Ricky. So also, as far as like the podcast goes, like, I mean, you're using your platform. You realize you have a platform now. Like, how did it like come about to where you were like, was it the first episode you kind of messing around, or you were like, you know what, let's take this seriously, I want to do this?
Yeah, like it was if you watch probably our first like 10 episodes, they're kind of just us figuring it out.
You guys just talking about each other's lives.
And it was mainly me, and my co-host at the time was my one of my closest friends from school, and we just talked a lot about our personal life. Really, it became like a therapy session.
Nice. Yeah, that's what they are, dude. After you leave here, you're like, feel good.
And then once I think we started getting some of like the local people on as guests, like people that we went to school with, that we knew, that I found they're doing cool things with their lives. We started doing that, and then just little by little, man, the guests kept coming, and
and then so like at that point, would you say you were a videographer, or you were just all like, as you were going, you were just putting it together as you were going?
Just figuring it out as I go, man. I still don't fully
call yourself a videographer.
I do in my bio. Nice, just for should, like
absolutely.
For the bio.
Like you know more than me. I'll tell you that right now. You know what I mean? I leave a lot of this stuff up
I
to
still
Paul, man.
Google and YouTube stuff all the time.
That's how you learn, man. That's cool, man. That's really cool, man. Because like being active in that like production of it. You know what I mean? Like with food, I want to know every aspect of it from top to bottom. With this, it's like, I don't even know where to start. Like the brand of the cameras matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's all kinds of lenses you put on those cameras. You know, so much respect, dude. Much respect. So another episode that I liked of yours was the you actually took some activism and talked about the immigrant march, right?
That was just more.
Just a post?
Just a post, yeah.
Okay.
I went out. One of my buddies, Chris, he invited me. He's like, there's going to be this march going on. Do you want to just go and check it out and take some photos? Photography is like another newfound passion that I've had. And yeah, man, that was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool experience. I've never done anything like that. Yeah. It just kind of in the moment. I told Sal, I'm like, hey, we're going to be at this march. Show up with the drone. He showed up and he got some good footage off of that. Yeah.
Do you feel like that's political at all? Or do you feel like you're more just activism, like this is my community, this is what's going on?
I'm not a very political person. If you guys, people tune in and watch our episodes, I really don't take a stand on anything. I think it's cool that we get to, express what we feel. And if people feel that way, then right on, power to them. They can do whatever they want. But me personally, I'm not very political, man. I'm telling you right now, I really don't even follow with politics.
Because I mean, you could put it under many categories of just heritage. It could be my city. It could be politics. It could be anything. But just to step out and to broaden your platform like that, it takes a little bit of guts. You know what I mean? So I'm saying I give you much respect. You know what I mean? Because I stick to my lane. Not because of I don't want to get political, but just because I don't delve into that. And I open my eyes though. You know what I mean? Like, what do I believe in that I'd like to put on my show? You know what I mean? And kind of broaden my platform and stuff like that.
And for me, it's all about capturing moments, and that seemed like a really cool moment. And
yeah, absolutely.
If I can document it, if I can show other people, I really haven't given my opinion on it, like whether I agree or disagree with it, but it's just something that happened, and we can't deny that it happened.
100%, man. And that's what I'm saying. Like journalism these days, sometimes it's just completely like biased. You know what I mean? And the way you did that, it was just putting it out there. This is what happens in my city, and take it for what it's worth. You know what I mean? And I like that because we need to do that more. We need to kind of. Like people are so worried about like, oh, the president or Europe and this like that. Like, reach out. You know what I mean? Like your community is actually this far away. What can you do to change your community here rather than worry about all this stuff that's on TV and stuff like that? You know what I mean? So I think that's an approach that we should take more of. You know what I mean? And try to figure out what's going on in our community and step out into the box a little bit.
Yeah, especially nowadays, man. Everybody's so divided. Like everybody's like, either far right, far left.
Right.
And like, what's the point of that?
It's a lot. It's just it's volatile, man. I don't know. Yeah, it's tough, and so that's why I want to be more active in the community. Like, what's going on? If it's abortion that's going on right here in my community, I want to figure it out. But right now in my bubble, that's not. So I want to figure out what's in my bubble that I need to exploit and figure out. You know what I mean? And that's what seeing your post made me think about. It's like I do have a little bit of a platform. Let me try to expand it just a little bit more and figure out what I can be more passionate about in my community and stuff like that. So I appreciate
think that's also like for us in our early conversations, we were talking about, you jump on and you see podcasts from everywhere about celebrities that you only hear about. You don't get to experience anything with them. So why don't we tell the story of somebody locally?
Absolutely.
Learn about who they are, learn about why they're here and how they do things in our community. And, that's where we start jumping in and talking to, people that we have on as guests.
Which is good. Yeah, absolutely.
And, getting the exposure for them, whether it's, the Angel Fund or somebody selling their salsas or cookies.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
That is something that we can directly impact within this platform, and it's local.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. That's the way to go. And I'm learning that too because like there's entrepreneurs that are here that people don't know about, and then you see their story of how they came up and how they're actually part of the community, and then they do this business and they're making money and taking care of their family. But just the story of the roots and stuff like that makes a difference for sure. Yeah. Next one it talked about the freeway when you had the in February. So are you guys from El Paso? Are you guys from El Paso or are you guys from Anthony?
He's from Anthony. I'm from El Paso.
Okay.
Yeah. I was born in El Paso, but I've lived in Anthony my whole life.
Education? Where'd you guys go to high school? Where'd you guys graduate?
I went Anthony.
Anthony?
Yeah, I was in Franklin.
All right, cool. I think that's the first Franklin we've had. I went to Montwood, graduated 01. But after that, I went to culinary school, and then But I wasn't like a chef at that point. I wasn't like, oh, I want to be a chef. It was just like, hey, Clay, you cook. You should go to culinary school. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, okay, let's do it. And then once I got out, I realized the passion because like, damn, I should have kept doing that in culinary school. Like I realized, you know, like I wanted to do the hustle and bustle and go, you know what I mean? So when you guys were in high school and you graduated, where were your heads at? Did you guys have some goals or did you want to go to college or what happened?
So my head was at my ass probably.
As most of us, man, I'm telling you, like if my parents, or it was actually my aunt who told me, hey, you should go to culinary school. You really have a passion for food. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know if do you curse? You could.
Oh yeah, go for it, man. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Sorry, I'll try to keep it PG.
No, it's all good.
No, dude, I didn't. I say this now. It took me. I'm 32 now. It took me about 30 years to figure out what I wanted to do with my life.
Sure, I'm 38. It took me 38 years to really figure it out. You know,
and it's hard. Because I don't know if it's like the way we're just brought up. You know, I'm Hispanic. Growing up, it was always like you got to go to school. You got to be a doctor. You got to be a lawyer. You got to be something big, right? And sorry, Mom, I never became a doctor.
Did she want you to? She really did? She thought you were going to be George Clooney or what?
She would always tell me, dude, like, hey, you got to, like, should have been a doctor, like, because, you know, she thought that I was, like, this super genius or something, just because I knew how to, like, set up the Wi-Fi and stuff like that.
You're so smart.
Yeah. But, yeah, I kind of, I ended up dropping out of college. I got my associates, and then I was continuing to do my bachelor's. I dropped out. I worked retail for
like years. Right at this moment, at that moment you're talking about though, like were you going to school to please your mom or were you like I'll get this degree and I'll get this job?
Yeah, it was mainly to please my parents and my mom mainly.
Yeah, that's what happens, man. I know. I understand that.
She gave me shit for dropping out like for years. Like I never. One of my best friends graduated from college. We went to the graduation. She's like, "See, that could have been you." I'm like, "Oh, sheesh." Look at me now, Mom. Look at me now.
So, was there a job or anything like at that in that moment that kept you going, or after college?
Yeah, I just kind of got stuck in doing retail for a while. So that's where I met Sal.
Yeah.
But, you know, life is really weird, man. It's kind of, I think I'm a firm believer of like things happen for a reason.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, me too, man. Definitely.
And everything in my life has kind of led to this point, which now I'm extremely, you know, happy that I get to do this, you know, on a Tuesday, right?
Yeah, exactly, right.
So it's
with
cool.
No set schedule.
No set schedule, man. I just, you know, get to do this. I'm doing what I love now, and I'm pretty sure you know that.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah, definitely, man. And the reason I ask is because I just want to see like where the transition, because we're all like 19 at one point, and we're all like 21, and we're like, wait, what the fuck? I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be there. I'm supposed to have this. Mom's gonna see this. You know what I mean? It's like we're always influenced by other things. But like, when did you figure out what you wanted? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years ago. That's insane, man. That's good. But that's good though. I was glad that you understand it. You figured it out, Mr. Sal. I was gonna say, like, what about you? When you were finishing high school, where was your head at?
So I actually started school within criminal justice.
Oh, we went to college for criminal justice.
I started there.
I didn't know.
You wanted to be a cop or a lawyer?
Yeah, I wanted to actually get into the police academy and like do that whole thing.
Wow. Okay.
But I think something around money, you know, like you need the money, you need it now, and like having to wait to get through all that education to get to it. It was kind of like, okay, so I actually went into real estate.
Oh, what? Right away after high school?
No. After a couple of years of college.
Okay.
My mom was like, hey, like you could get your real estate license and then, you know, kind of do that part-time and continue to go to school. So
was she a realtor? Was she a realtor?
No.
Oh, okay. Because like that's crazy influence. That's a great influence right now. They always say, you know, you need residual income. If you could be a realtor, you could do whatever you want to. Like me, for instance, I could do that on the side. You know what I mean? So great influence.
So that's kind of where it started. But then again, like wanting to get the money now, my boss from retail actually came to me and was like, hey, we got an assistant manager position. And I was like, oh shit, yeah, that's guaranteed money. It's not commission. Don't have to hassle with like contracts and like people's attitudes.
Right. True.
And so, you know, that kind of led me to the retail side, and then just kind of been in that for a while.
How many years? Have you learned a lot in the retail business? Marketing, selling, and
no,
customers?
I think that's kind of been a lot of things that I've been able to bring to, you know, what we're trying to start, you know, and, you know, that thought process around how to get, financially stable and
understand
eventually maybe even hiring some people.
Sure.
Hopefully we get there.
Excellent.
For now, we need unpaid interns. If anybody's watching.
Unpaid.
But I think, like we were talking about with Johnny and the influence, but there is a lot of pressure to decide things early on. Like there's always
to be established.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, from job to your personality or who you are as a person, I think people try and rush into that. But I think like we're talking now, like you can't say you're really committed to anything until you really have the time to decide it. And for most, it does take those 30 plus years to figure that out.
Honestly. Sometimes I've had friends, because I grew up in South Florida, and I've literally seen my friends go to 4 years of college and start their career as doctors or lawyers or this or that. And so I really thought that was the norm, and I was out of the norm, bro. I was just like, I lost it. I should have been that, or I should have been this. You know what I mean? I really, at that point, at my 30s, I was like, shit, I should either have my restaurant or I should be a chef, and I'm not. I work at Costco. This is crazy. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's a lot of outside pressures that push you in different directions, man. But my point is always like, stay positive, stay motivated, and keep going, because you never know what that opportunity is right around the corner. You know what I'm saying? Like, always have yourself up ready. You know what I mean? And man, as a chef, I was ready, but I never got the opportunity, and I was always like, why am I not getting the opportunity? Yeah, have to create your own opportunities in life, honestly, and that's where I did. I got my associate's degree in culinary arts in 2004. I got my business degree in 2017, and then once COVID hit, is like the crux. Right before COVID hit, I was like, I'm gonna start my business as a personal chef, and then COVID hit, and it was like my adversity. And 5 years later, I actually made it. So yeah, it's pretty cool, man. But like you're saying, like you just gotta not listen to the adversity and just go through it. You know what I mean?
And I also think people don't really try things, right? Like if you don't know what you're gonna do with your life, you don't know what you're passionate about, try things. Like go. Like for me, like I've always like wanted to, my dream job would be like I want to direct the movie one day.
Oh shit!
Right?
I see
like
you
that would be my
like kind of vibe, bro.
Yeah, that's why I wear the hat, the jacket, and just give off that look.
Yeah.
But that was always like I love watching movies, and that was always like a dream thing, and it always seemed like a fantasy. But now that I've been kind of diving into, it's like, well, maybe it's not such a wild dream, but I had to go out and try something to get to that.
So I was gonna ask, in those trying moments, you're in your 20s, guys, and you're just like climbing the ladder or trying to figure out life. Like, who was that person, or what was that inspired you guys to, like, as a man, just to keep going and like be something bigger than yourself at that moment?
I think for me, my mom. I think my mom has paid that influence. Like I said, she passed away 2 years ago.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
And after that, it was like I gotta seize the moment, right? I gotta live life, and that's what kind of drives me and motivates me. Like I need to do this for myself, because for a lot of years I did things for other people, and now this is all like for me.
That's good, man. Hell yeah, you gotta find that time for yourself, for sure, man. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think there's nothing like the motherly love and connection. So I feel like she influenced me a lot, and there's sometimes where I'll start to think like, oh, like I remember her and how she pushed me and got me to this point. So, but I also feel like when I had my kids, like that changed my whole perspective.
Sure.
There were things that like football and sports where, you're secondary. Into it and you're like, yeah, damn, like, Cowboys lost again, But now that doesn't matter. They lost. Yeah.
So true.
They're gonna keep losing.
It becomes trivial. Those things become trivial. Yeah, for sure.
They asked me, like a week or two ago about the trade with the Lakers. And I'm like, honestly, like it's one of the last things on my mind. Yeah, great if they win. But it's really about the family, my kids, helping them grow, helping them develop.
And how old are your kids?
So my oldest is 16, and then my son, he's in the middle. He's 15, and then my daughter's 12.
Wow, congratulations, man. That's awesome to have a family like that. I have 3 myself. First ones are 16 and 15, and then I have a 6-year-old. Okay. So I can't say the same. Like, honestly, like kids are a big motivation, a big inspiration. When my daughters were born, like I was just more like, I got to support these little kids. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, how am I going to do this? I was so pressured by the need for support and be the best father ever, right? So I lost myself, my like focus, right? I wasn't like trying to be a father. I was trying to be a provider. You know what I mean? And not getting the opportunity. I was just like in this weird state. You know what I mean? My inspiration, honestly, was that one day I'll be a chef. That was my inspiration. I was like, you know what? I'm going through this day to day, but I know I'll somehow, some way, I'll be a chef. I have no knives right now. I don't work in the kitchen, but I'll get there somehow. I know that for sure.
That's weird, right? Because like when you know you're like destined for something, like you kind of know, right?
I mean, it's kind of like death or failure, or death or success. I believe, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like in those moments, I'm like, either I'll die a loser like this, or I'm gonna be a chef. Those are the two opportunities. That's really like how I felt really for a long time. But what I was gonna actually get to is that like when my son was born, somehow, some way, somebody told me that you have to cherish those first 5 years of a child's birth. And I was like, damn, like why didn't I do that during my daughter's birth? And so me putting all my efforts into those first 5 years of my son's, oh my God, that changed my life. Seriously, like I know exactly what you're talking about now. Like everything is trivial compared to like growing my kids and making them proud of what I do and how I live my life. You know what I mean? Like if I do that good, then they do whatever they want with their life, right? Because I've shown them the best part of it. And so I totally relate with what you're saying, man. And much respect, because you, as soon as, I guess you're saying when they were born, that's when they changed your life?
Yeah.
That's much respect, man. It took me a little while. While.
No, I wouldn't say it was like the day they were
right,
born.
of course, well, right. But it wakes you up. Yeah, as you hold them and you're taking care of them as babies and stuff like that. Yeah,
and when you see like just how life goes on when sports are over. Like,
right.
It's nothing in comparison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, and then they're gearing up for Christmas and stuff like that. Just how happy they get. And right now, kids, my ex is taking them to Disneyland, and like they smile, But over there, there's different smiles, man. Over at Disneyland, there's different huge smiles, constant smiles. So I'm just like, wow, that's what it's about. I need to do that more often. So here's a question that I ask, and tell me if it makes sense to you guys, because some people are taken back to it. But how do you translate your struggles and triumphs as a podcaster or even a business owner to everyday life?
Well, for me, they're lessons, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're a year into this, and anytime we've come through a struggle, like it becomes a lesson, and we learn from that. Example, early on, having like either forgetting to like put an SD card or hitting the record button or something, like that.
Minute, but bit major.
Yeah. Or like cameras out of focus and you don't realize it until like I go into edit. I'm like, son of a, and that those mistakes lead to those lessons and kind of
tightening up, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. You feel like you want to add on that?
Yeah, I think that's kind of where we're at, trying to figure those lessons out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I feel like for me it's still frustrating. But trying to avoid it whenever we get to that situation.
For sure.
It's part of being a producer.
Yeah. I think the reason I made that question, and I want to like take it off sometimes, but I'm like, no, the reason I asked that is because like me as a chef, as a passionate chef artist, I can be in the kitchen and I could do it for hours or minutes and put my art on a plate and hand it to you. If you like it or don't like it, like I put myself on a plate, and I can do that all day long. But meeting people, I'm like hesitant and don't really give all myself to people and stuff like that. And so it's weird, I don't know how to translate the two and be confident as a person as well as a chef. I don't know. I'm still trying to like, figure it out, but
where do you feel that you thrive more?
Oh, in the kitchen, tremendously. Yeah,
that's like you. That's your.
Yeah. Sometimes people like I do podcasting, and then people say, "Oh man, you're a great interviewer. That was a great podcast." And I think I'd like to work on that more to figure out that type of passion. But kitchen is where I'm at. I love every aspect of the kitchen, even if it's dishes. Like if I could help out the team in that way, like I really know the whole end goal. You know what I mean? So I love it. I love it all. Like seriously,
I always have dishes at my house if you want to do those.
It's not the dishes at your house. It's more of the production of the 4 courses, 8 courses, 10 courses. But yeah, I feel you, man. I have tons of dishes in my house right now. It's crazy. All right. So another question I asked is, what does entrepreneurship mean to you? Because you guys just started a business, right? You joint venture. So like, what does entrepreneurship, the word, mean to you?
To me, it's, going out and taking risks and putting something together.
Right.
I think there's a lot, it's different. Like if at my 9 to 5, I have an accomplishment, it's not necessarily mine,
Sure.
But if I jump in and we have an accomplishment, even if it's something small,
right,
and something we're doing for ourselves,
I feel like
it's
a puzzle piece you're putting on your
way more
guys'
impactful.
puzzle. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
1000%. I like that. Yeah. Entrepreneurship is just something I learned in school. You know what I mean? There's obviously a technical definition, but I just know, like, as I'm passionate about one thing and I work hard toward that goal, like, it's the pieces that it takes to get to success. You know what I mean? And I'll just keep doing that. I'm just going to keep doing that and have that sense of entrepreneurship with whatever I do. How do you maintain, like, what keeps you motivated as a business owner and as a podcast producer, like today?
I think what keeps me motivated is the idea of growth, because what I've learned is that you have to stay consistent. You have to put in the hours. I was actually talking to somebody today about this. It's like going to the gym, right? You don't get buff overnight.
Right,
you got to go every day. You got to get those reps in. And that's what kind of motivates me. And then once we see growth, then that motivates me even more to go even harder, right? Like, so that I think that's kind of my motivation is that, man, just kind of seeing the growth and seeing, like, I don't know what my potential is yet. Like, I don't know how far I can go.
That's a good perspective too. Yeah, for sure. How about you, Sal? Same?
Yeah, I mean, along those lines.
The growth of the podcast you liked. I think that's what you said initially too, just getting in with the partnership. You like to see the growth. You believe in the growth. So that's great. Honestly, that. And as far as, like, being entrepreneurs, like, what do you, how these two aspects of marketing and networking, like, how important are those two aspects of business?
Very important, man.
So let's go into marketing. Like, what do you guys do for marketing?
Well, for marketing, I think that's where we struggle a little bit. But most of it is just like social media now. I think social media. Yeah,
it's free. I mean, if you don't exploit social media, you're losing out. Seriously, it's a free aspect of marketing right there.
Yeah, and that's where I think Sal kind of comes in more, because he's got more of, like, the business side.
Nice.
But yeah, social media.
Kind of connecting to your audience, right? Yeah. You're putting it out there and he's connecting that to the audience. Yeah, that's great. That's a great partnership.
And then, like, it's the networking. Networking has been everything. And that's a great thing about a podcast. If someone out there wants to network, start a podcast.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, exactly. It's the easy way.
It's the easiest way. It's fun. You get content out of it, and it all just kind of, it's very organic.
Yeah. And you have a friend or a family member that goes out to the, markets and sells something, right? Get them on the podcast, start that way and just get somebody on there just to talk, And
especially, I think, like, somewhere like El Paso, where it's it's a big city, but at the same time, it's very small.
Sure.
You can get to anybody, because through, like, a friend of a friend or, like, a cousin or something. Yeah,
it is so true. Yeah, absolutely. And also, I could tell you, like, from me being a personal chef, having a good client too, not only do they recommend me for business, for personal chef, they're like, this guy should be good for your podcast. He did this, he did that, he started. Oh, I'm like, oh yeah, definitely. Hey, Mr. Christmas said you'd be on. Oh yeah, definitely. Boom. Yeah, I mean, it's just like that networking. Absolutely. It's not what you know, it's who you know, right?
Exactly.
Actually. Yeah. So yeah, pretty. Anything you want to add on marketing or networking?
Yeah, I think adding on to it, like, we're really looking at quality and trying to produce something that, is a representation of our work, the time and effort that we put in there. So it isn't like we're rushing to try and get something out there. Like, we want to make sure that it's
take care of your baby, man. Yeah, absolutely. That's the right way to do things, man. I've learned that from even music artists here in town. I had Josh Powers, we just had Wizzy Get 'em, but it's a matter of, like, taking pride in what you have, right? And then inching your way toward your goal, not just pushing it, because then it could dilute the product.
There's been a couple times where, like, I'm sitting on a post because I don't want to put it out yet because I feel like there's something missing. If it's the color grading, if it's maybe it's a clip that I need to cut a little bit.
Sure.
There's always something.
Yeah, that's the passion. That's the passion, man. Honestly, when you believe in your product, you want it to be 100%. Shout out Jimmy Duke's podcast, right? He's been on your podcast. Yeah. Well, he's been on my podcast. I've been on his podcast. He's a really cool motherfucker, because not only is he doing all the things that he does, but he reached out to me and said that he'd help me out with some social media work. So he's making clips for me right now, and he's gonna help me post them on YouTube and stuff like that. So shout out to all the grinders out there, and just collaborating, networking, and it's working together and stuff like that. Shout out Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy is a workhorse, and I tell that guy, like, dude, like, where the fuck do you find the energy?
He wants it, man. He wants it, man. He's got that hunger, man. He just wants it. And also, he's having fun. Yeah. He really is having fun with what he does, man. And that's part of it, dude. If you're doing it for the money, or if you're doing it for the fame you think you'll get on TikTok, like it's not gonna work out for you, man. Just do it for the love of what you do, and that's what he's doing. He found his niche, man. He was rolling around with jiu-jitsu, and then now he's in all the cages around town.
He's like the local MMA guy.
He's the local Joe Rogan, man. They call him that. That's cool, man. So like I asked you, business plans or for the future, any big ideas you guys want to drop or talk about?
I think for us it's just mainly continue to grow the brand of Marlac. We want to be involved with as many creators, as many people from the area, and we're already kind of in talks to work on several projects.
Nice.
Man, it's just really grow and expand the brand and see how far we can take it.
Nice. Yeah. Excellent. And then do you have any advice, like for podcasters, anybody starting maybe a new business, people that are like, should we start this business? Any advice for them right now?
You go first.
I think you're waiting for this question, so you go for it. I know it.
My advice, and this is what I've been saying, just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Not like Nike, but like seriously, just do it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but you like, I think a lot of the times we are our own worst enemies.
True.
And we hold each other back, and we don't know what we're capable of until we try. I'm a walking example. Like you go back a year and a half, I was not doing this, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure everybody has that origin story, and because that's kind of what it's been like. Everybody that I talk to, like just one day somebody decides to do something, and then it snowballs and it leads to something bigger. So if you're scared because you don't know, if you're capable of doing it, then you're not gonna really know until you try it.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. And then don't let anybody dog your vision, right? Whatever your idea is. Yeah,
one thing I hate, it's so annoying, but like, oh, you should do this or you should try this. It's like, no, you do that. I'm doing what I want to do, right?
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, that's true. But I think also you should take it as a compliment because they see your spark. They see your like trek that you're on. They're like, damn, dude. I want to be part of that. Maybe I give my idea and he'll thank me for it later. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, man, that's cool, man. I really like that because I feel that momentum too, man. Some people are like, you should do that and do that. I do. In the moment, I'm like, but I'm like, oh, you know what?
I say thank you and I'm like, oh, that's a cool idea.
Yeah. But I'm just it's so hard too because they have great ideas. You're like, fuck, I have 10 other ideas. Can you just keep that to the side for a second? I have too many ideas in my head for the podcast. It's great. That's great though, man. It's good things to have. You know what I mean? And this is a question that I ask all my guests. It could be entrepreneur. You could be just a passionate person, but you've been through life. You've been around other people. So I just wanted to see if you could define the line between confidence and cockiness.
You want to give this one a crack?
Confidence and cockiness.
Yeah. I see it as like confidence that you know what you're capable of, right? I think sometimes cockiness is more negative, where you think you might know, right? But then you might not. I think it's cockiness,
like a false confidence.
Yeah, like a false confidence. Yeah.
Anything to add?
I kind of like that. I think with cockiness, I think sometimes it's also not a true representation of what it actually is. Like you can be cocky and not good at something, and I think within the confidence you build because you're good at it. Yeah.
I think the reason I put that question, and I always want to get people's interpretation of it, is because everybody's different, right? I feel like it's a spectrum. Like you're always teetering. You could be really cocky about what you're doing. Like when I'm in the kitchen, and maybe somebody takes it as I'm being cocky, and then maybe you're just being confident. You know what I mean? And you're quiet, and be like, "What's wrong with him?" No, he's just confident with what he's doing. You know what I mean? So I wonder how people interpret that, and through life, because I've been in the hottest kitchens and I've been in the coolest kitchens. You know what I mean? So there's a way of kind of like maintaining a certain balance of confidence and cockiness. Definitely. Also with the podcast and your business, how do you guys pay it forward?
Well, I think it's just like we've talked about, is just highlighting the community and whenever we can, shout out somebody or help out with like the Angel Fund event and stuff like that. Oh yeah, big time, yeah. Like that's how we pay it forward. We're not like super big or anything like that where we can do like a giveaway a Tesla or what people doing on YouTube do and stuff like that. But we give what we can, and sometimes our time is what we can give, and sometimes it's a little bit more.
Nice.
Yeah, I think there's that piece where are you a good person? And I think that really makes, for somebody that wants to be an entrepreneur, it makes it easy, because if you have good intentions and you're able to kind of show people what you do, then you get the support. But for those that have, those bad intentions or selfish intentions,
right.
like they don't really get the community behind them. They don't get other creators and content, to kind of come to them. They kind of have to ask for it.
Nice. Yeah. So you guys pay it forward by just having your open door policy with anybody who wants to, kind of collaborate
just be a good person.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that, man. Honestly, and that's what's going to gravitate toward you when you're the same way. Yeah, for sure, man. I like that.
Also, like, the audience knows people are not dumb. They see through the BS, right? If you're not original, if you're trying to be something that you're not, people know. Yeah,
that's the truth. And you're not going to see it in the views, but you're just going to peter off. You know what I mean? It's more about like the passion of what you're trying to do. Like this podcast right here is my way of paying it forward. Like I said, one day I had a dream of, being in the kitchen and the person coming around the corner, like, what's for dinner, chef? It happened. And I'm like, how the fuck do I just pay it forward? Is by helping out somebody else. Hopefully if they find your passion and you can start your own business or just do something to make yourself a little bit more happy, even if it's like skateboarding, you know what I mean? Pick up that skateboard that you haven't picked up in 10 years, Yeah. What's your passion? Find your passions in life. That's where it's at.
Wear a helmet.
and the pads. I don't know how many times I busted my wrist, man. So the last, we have this new segment on the podcast where we do, it's called Lightning Advice. And it's just like, super short, but like powerful takeaways from each question. So as I ask a question, just answer it as fast as you can. I don't know if you want to take turns or whatever, but the first one is, what's the number one habit? What's the number one habit every entrepreneur should develop?
I'd say good listening. Good
listening skills? And why?
You need to be able to intake information. And I think if you're kind of pushing it out off to the side, it really limits the opportunity for you to grow.
True. Yeah. Or you just have this tunnel vision and not taking any. Yeah, definitely. I like that. Next question. What's your go-to strategy for overcoming self-doubt?
I think relying on people around you, your team.
So setting yourself up that way too, right?
I'm the biggest.
Excellent.
I'm really insecure. A lot of the times it doesn't come off that way, but I doubt myself all the time. But I surrounded myself with a good team, with people that believe in me. And whenever I don't believe in me, they do. And that kind of lifts me up and gets me through it.
Fuck yeah, man. That's from the heart too. And he's kind of revealing something there, because like I'm a more of a Lorna type of person, and I take care of whatever I need to take care of. But there's some people in my life that I do need. God damn it, you know what I mean? So you setting yourself up for success, having those people around you, because you're not the most perfect. I mean, we're all not perfect, but your faults. So that's fucking badass, man. Seriously, to have a circle like that, that's what's keeping you going, man. And thanks for people in my circle too, y'all. I'm sure we all need that. You know what I mean?
If you don't have a circle, find one.
Yeah, exactly. Seriously. And I've actually have a business circle too, like not only my personal circle, but the business circle of like chefs and podcasters now. It's really fucking cool to spread your wings, you know what I mean? But to be with the same circle of passionate people and doing the same things and stuff like that.
And it doesn't have to be a circle, maybe a triangle.
Square table,
three
it's all good.
4 people, whatever it is. Yeah, just get a support group.
What's the best way to bounce back from failure?
Just get back up and go at it again.
Yeah, and like any like let's say like financially something happens. Like what's your go-to strategy? What's something that you
financially, like something?
I'm saying like catastrophic. Like it could be financial, it could be medical. Like I mean, just what is like something that you do? Is there an active like strategy or exercise that you do? For instance, I meditate. Like I know that, for instance, if it's good news or bad news, right, it's gonna get me in a different direction. So I try to meditate and just try to get to a even keel, and then try to process the information and that kind of emotion, rather than be over high strung or depressed or something like that.
Yeah, I think we were talking about your early on solo podcast.
Right.
I think that kind of be my thing, but it's like in the car driving.
Okay.
And talking to myself. I'm sure I look crazy as people driving by, but it's processing information.
Sure.
Whether it's something happened at work or, again, something happens, financially or whatever.
Find your quiet space. Like find your own quiet space.
Even taking a walk and talking. Probably the greatest invention ever are the Bluetooth headphones, because you could pop those in. You don't even have to have music on. you could talk to yourself forever.
It's the truth.
And nobody even
It's the
knows.
truth. Look at that.
All
It's
of
the
a
truth,
sudden,
guys.
you're
That's good
not
advice,
crazy.
honestly. That's really good advice. I know people that keep them in all the time, too, like just for either music or just for that reason itself right there. They'll be talking to themselves or talking to somebody.
I've gone to the gym with no music.
With no music.
Just the, sound canceling.
That's a good perspective, honestly. Because that's what I'm doing when I meditate. It's actually blocking out all these frequencies that are trying to invade my space. You know what I mean? So, yeah, get that quiet space, whatever quiet space you can find, and go over those questions and answers that you're bothered with right in that moment. Last question I have for the lightning advice is, if you had to give one piece of advice to a new entrepreneur in 10 seconds, what would it be?
Is it my turn or is it
your turn? It's your turn.
Oh man, that's tough. I think I already kind of talked about
it. You're watching him shake hands with his investor. He's got his little check and he's about to walk away, start his business. You got 10 seconds to give him some advice. What would you say?
Oh man, I'm blanking here.
Yeah.
I think for me, I already talked about it. It was just kind of get the ball rolling. Don't be scared to ask for help.
Ooh. Nice. Yeah. That's good, bro. Because he's he's got his guns loaded. He's got money in his pocket. You know what I mean? He's ready to just go take it on,
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. And
don't be afraid to ask questions, y'all.
I'm just
Seriously,
thinking
ask for advice. You know what I mean? Like Google and YouTube will help you, but that human entity that's close to you and that might have a little bit more smarts than you, just ask that question.
Yeah. And that's
be humble enough, right?
That's me, man. Like I said, I don't know everything.
Right.
So when I don't know, I try to reach out for those who do.
Hell yeah. I like that, man. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, adding on to that and just filtering out the noise.
Right.
Like the people that, try and get in on something that aren't necessarily looking out for your best interests.
Sure.
Those are some things that, sometimes it's harder to figure out. But once you figure that out, you got to get rid of it. And sometimes it might even be a difficult decision, maybe, a partnership or something that's been there.
Right.
But that you got to get rid of it in order to get better.
Phew. Great advice, honestly, guys. And much respect. Thank you for being on the show. Have nothing but respect for your future. I mean, thanks for coming in and collaborating here on this Grind2Hard podcast. A-Town Talks is where you'll find them. You can see them on YouTube. They have a IG page. I don't know, what's the handle on IG so they could find you?
It's A-Town Talk
on IG.
Yeah,
the dash. Okay.
Yeah. And
then, like I said, YouTube, and then any other platforms.
So we're on YouTube, Spotify. That's where we show our podcast, and then our other page is Marlac Productions, and just on Instagram at Marlac Productions, or you can even marlacproductions.com.
There you go. Yeah, I think Marlac. I don't know if I follow that, but I'll go ahead and follow that one. But yeah, so you guys, if you ever want to start a podcast, it's a good way to kind of get your word out, like what your passions are, and then you can collaborate with other people and talk about their passions, and then you'll find your audience through just talking about what your passions are. You know what I mean? And the main point of this show is to find out what your passion is, because once you find your passion, you're able to just exploit a little bit more passion in your day-to-day life. Me as a chef, I was stuck in a 9-to-5, and I never really got my passion out there. You know what I mean? I could cook dinner, which is one thing, but I like to actually layer flavors and colors and textures and stuff like that, and I really enjoy doing that, because I know when you get your plate and you taste it, you're like, fuck, it's a orgasm in my mouth, you know what I mean, or whatever you say, you know what I mean. I just enjoy that feeling of connecting the dots as a chef to the customer. So I implore you to find your passions. This is the Grind2Hard podcast. Like I said, every day, every episode, stay positive, stay motivated, and keep going. That's the best advice I can give y'all. So stay up, y'all. Thanks for watching. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Yo, Johnny, I
Chef.
appreciate you. Mr. Sal, appreciate y'all, man.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.